Okay, let me just switch on your mic. I'm sure you'll be able to get me. Okay. So, like I said, we've got the bacterial canker, which appears like this, and at the early stages, you may mistake it for early blight. But the difference is that in early blight, you have some brown patches, uh, almost the whole leaf is affected, and it has some concentric rings. But with bacterial canker, you have got these brown patches in the edges of the leaf. Okay. Then from there, we also have what we call black rot, which is common in cabbage. Most people think black rot is a fungal infection, but it is a bacterial infection. That's the reason why a lot of farmers fail to control it, because they usually use fungicides to control black rot. Okay. We also have what we call crab root. Where the roots of the taproot of the leafy vegetables folds. So when it folds, the crop fails to grow to its physiological maturity. Then we've got the Pseudomonas, which appears like this, also a bacterial infection. We've got more bacterial infections. We've got what we call bacterial wilt, where we find that tomatoes will wilt in a green state, most especially after the tomatoes have okay, I would say mostly during flowering and fruiting stage, before the fruits ripen. That's where bacterial wilt is mostly common, and this is mostly common in the high rainfall regions such as Copper Belt, northwestern and northern provinces, because of the low pH in the soil. So bacterial wilt prefers the soils which are slightly acidic. Then we also have what we call bacterial spot, where you find that the fruits of the tomato who have some black spots, and also the stems will have something like will have these pimples. This is what we call bacterial spot. So having known the bacterial infections, I've just selected a few, and I believe they are the most common bacterial infections, but there are so many bacterial infections. If I try to explain all of them, it might take the whole day. So I've just picked on a few. So to avoid bacterial infection, there are some chemicals that you can use. There's one chemical which is a biological bactericide, which is also a biological, which is both a fungicide and also a bactericide. It is known as tricos. So what usually happens is that when you plant your tomatoes or your cabbage, whatever crop you've planted, you need to drench this chemical to the roots of the plant. This is going to offer natural protection to the crop. Okay, So drenching, it simply means physically applying the chemical to the roots. Okay, so trichos will be able to control bacterial infection. So it's better you apply as a preventive for you to have perfect results at the end of the day. So we've got another chemical known as copster. So copster is a copper containing fungicide and also bactericide. It is it has a formulation of copper hydroxide. So copper hydroxide is very good for bacterial infection, but it works better if you do a preventive application, or where you need to be drenching your copster every fortnight, and you can also be doing an aerial spray so that you have 100% control of your bacterial infection. So from the bacterial infections, we now move on to viral infections. Yeah, so we go on viral infections and their vectors. Okay, so plants also are affected by viral diseases, and these viral diseases are not are uncurable. You cannot cure a viral infection. So what you can only do to control a viral infection is to prevent it from infecting your plants. So these viral infections are usually transmitted by pests. So examples of pests that transmit viral infections are aphids, leafhoppers, thrips, and whitefly. So we are going to look at the common viral diseases and their vectors. We've got one disease on our on our left. Uh, it's known as the potato virus. So potato virus is transmitted by aphids. So in order for you not to have this virus, you need to make sure that you have a very good crop protection. Uh, you need to control aphids from your fields. So if you allow aphids to feed on your crop, if you delay to control them, quite all right, you are going to eradicate them, but at the end of the day, they would have transmitted a viral infection. So it's very important that you control the aphids at the early stages, so that you don't have a danger of having a viral infection in your field. Like I said, they are not curable. They are incurable. You cannot treat a viral infection. Then number two, we've got tomato spotted wilt virus. This one is transmitted by a thrip. So as a farmer, you need to make sure that you control the insects in the field so that you don't have this kind of a disease. So if you have this kind of a disease, you find that your tomato will be will, will not ripe to your expectation. Instead of it being red, it will be red with some yellow patches and white patches, which is not good for the market, and it will reduce on the quality of the crop that you are going to market. Then we've got what we call tomato chlorosis virus, which is transmitted by an insect known as whitefly. So when you've got this infection, you're going to have this kind of symptoms on your crops. So it's therefore important for a farmer to also have a very good crop protection against white flies, so that you might not have this infection. So if we go back to the previous lessons that we had on crop protection, we talked about uh, the chemical that you can use to control aphids, white flies, and thrips. We said you can use Actara for aphids and white flies. So if you have a very good crop protection, you are not going to have these challenges. So I brought this lesson on bacterial and viral infections because mostly we mistake bacterial infection and viral infections to fungal infection. And at the end of the day, as farmers, we spend a lot on chemicals which will not even control our problems in our fields. So I believe by the end of this lesson, uh, you'll be able to identify which one is a bacterial infection, which one is a viral infection, and which one is a fungal infection. And you'll be able to know what kind of solution you can use to prevent or to control the problem that you have in the field. So the plant viruses, they do not exist, they do not live on their own. So they would need a host, which is a plant, on which they'll what they'll they'll grow and also multiply. So if you have a very good crop protection, then you are going to prevent the spread of the viruses. So at this point of time, I would invite for question. I'll unmute everyone so that I can have questions from the participants. All right, yeah, you are free to ask questions and contribution where necessary. Any questions? Yes. Yes, Mr. Moyo. Yes, I'm fine. Go ahead with your, is it a question?
Mr. Kasakula.
Yes. Yes, I can hear you.
Question.
I can hear you loud and clear.
All right, okay. If you find that your field is infected with bacteria, I mean a viral disease of some sort, or one of the viral diseases that you have just presented, and maybe you try to defend the crop, and again the crop is gets affected, the next crop gets affected. What would you suggest to a farmer? Let's say I have 3 hectares. I planted on that 3 hectares and I have a viral problem. What would you suggest I do to the field to prevent future infections? Or maybe should it be abandoned, or is something to treat the soil in case it's soil borne now?
All right. Thank you very much. If I got you clearly, you were asking a question on if you find out that you've got a viral infection in your field. So when you have got a viral infection in the field, Let's say if you've got 1 or 2 plants which are infected, you just need to uproot those plants out of your field, and make sure you disinfect the tools that you were using when uprooting those infected plants. And on the other hand, let's say if you are pruning, there are those tools that we use when pruning. So during pruning your tomatoes, you should make sure you also move with a disinfectant. After pruning one plant to the next plant, you need to make sure that you disinfect the tools that you are using for pruning, because you may not know if the plant that you've pruned has a viral infection, which can be transmitted to the next plant. In the case of bacterial infections, if your field is affected by bacterial infection, we would suggest that you do a crop rotation so that you break the chains, because there are some viral bacterial infections which are crop specific. So you may find that certain bacterial infections cannot affect crops such as cabbage, but they can affect tomatoes. So you need to do a crop rotation, or you can bring in another crop such as maize to break the chain for bacterial infections. I hope I've answered your question.
Yeah, yes, Mr. Kasakula. But just a follow-up on that one. You're saying I use the disinfectant to to disinfect the tools or anything that I was using to to uproot or to clear off the area that is infected. But then you said that there is no treatment for the virus, isn't it? Is it what you said?
Yes.
So what would be the role of the disinfectant? Is it not just changing the vector? It was in the soil, now it's on the tools. Even if you use, I don't know if you get what I'm saying.
Okay, thank you very much. When a virus is in the plant, you cannot destroy it. But when it's outside the plant, the host, you are able to eradicate it. So when it has moved from the host to the tool, you are able to disinfect. You are able to destroy it with the disinfectant. The disinfectant is just like the same hand sanitizers that we are using for COVID.
All right, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Any other question?
Oh, it's clear.
It's clear. Okay. JB.
Quite an interesting lesson there. I think we need to learn more on how to identify it. I think, like you said, we are mistaking the effects of viral infection to that of a fungal. I think I personally, I may be a victim, because I think I've been spraying a lot of fungal chemicals, but there are certain patches that I see on the leaf which are not ending. So maybe to be more clear, just zero in on the difference between the effects of a viral infection and that of a fungal. Like, how can you categorically differentiate the two? Thanks.
Okay. Thank you very much. Mr. Mwawa, welcome. Yeah. So the difference is that in a viral infection, you usually find the infection is in a mosaic kind of arrangement. I don't know if you understand the mosaic kind of arrangement. It's let me just share my screen. I show you my screen. You've seen this leaf here. So it's a small leaf.
Yes.
Yes, it has got this kind of arrangement. On this other leaf, also you've got the mosaic kind of arrangement. Then on the next one, if you look at the leaf itself, it's in a mosaic kind of arrangement. Even on these others, even the fruits themselves, you find that they will not give you the red color. It won't give you one color. It will give you a lot of colors. It will have patches. But with the fungal infections, you find that those patches the patches will have something like wounds or pimples, okay, in a fungal infection. So and also if it's tomato, you find that a tomato will start rotting if it's a fungal infection. But with a bacterial infection, you just find it will have those different colors on the leaf or on the fruit. Okay, Percy Zulu or Fares Zulu has raised the hand. You can go ahead with the question.
Good evening. I just wanted to find out what tool can be used to drenching the roots.
Okay. Oh, thank you very much. The tool that you can use to drench the roots, one, you can use a sprayer, but you should remove the nozzle. And the other tool that you can use, you can just dilute your chemicals in a bucket and use a small cup and measure your you can start. You can be using a small cup to drench to administer the chemical to the roots, just like as if you are irrigating your tomatoes or your cabbage. So, but the best is a sprayer. You just dilute your chemical in a sprayer and then drench the roots. I don't know, Mr. Mwaba, do you, is there any other tool that we can use for drenching?
Okay.
Yes.
I think those are the available methods for now. Can you hear?
Yes, yes.
Yes, I can.
Hello?
Thank you.
Yes, those are the available methods for now, especially that, you know, there are certain technologies which are used, but I think we don't have them currently in this country. But I think an knapsack would do, even in a bucket, if you are very, very good at if you're very good at mixing chemicals, you can use a bucket and maybe a jug, where you just be going like a plant by plant by plant, you are just drenching like that, you know. But the best, I think, for now is just an knapsack. It's very ideal. It will do a very good job, so long you remove the nose. Yeah.
No, thank you very much, Mr. Mwaba. Yeah, we've got about 5 minutes to go. Let's ask questions. Where we are not clear, yes, JB,
May I ask again?
Yes. Go ahead.
Yes, of course, we need to learn more on identifying them.
Yes.
But I also want to ask of a viral infection. Does it mean that if you have a hectare or two and you've seen that most of the plants, they have it, do you lose hope? What are the devastating effects of a viral infection?
Okay, the devastating effects of a viral infection are one, if it will reduce on the quality of the crop that you are going to take to the market. For example, if you've got a tomato which is not fully ripe, which doesn't have one color, it has got yellow, red, white, green patches. it won't be marketed. Then, to some extent, you may find that the crop, the leaves of the crop might be affected, which will also reduce the rate of photosynthesis. So without good photosynthesis, then you are going to have a low quality low quality in terms of the fruits that you are going to harvest. Even the shape of the crop. Let me just share once more my slide. I think yeah, there's a slide where, yeah, have you seen on your right corner, there are these shapes of tomatoes. They've been affected by viral infection. So you find that even the shape itself is affected. So as a farmer, you may not achieve the benefits that you were anticipating. Mr. Mwaba, do you have anything to add on in less than a minute?
Yeah, I think it's, you know, those are quite those issues are quite technical, because if you remember, Mr. Kasakula said you find some mosaic kind of patterns on the leaves or on the plant, so to say. You know, sometimes farmers, they mistake those for deficiency. You know, sometimes they mistake those issues for deficiency, such that they go in with maybe a foliar fertilizer or any kind of fertilizer. Yeah. So you know, these mosaic patterns on the leaves, especially, they are so artistical. Like, you know, like someone has been, you know, has been. They are so artistical. Like it's an artist who's been drawing them, you know, and they look so nice, and you know, you see. But I think the important thing is, as farmers, we have to adhere to our spraying program. It's very important. If we do not have, if we don't need to experience such instances, please adhere to your spraying program. Do not skip anything. If you know that this is my program and I have to adhere it, please adhere to that program, so that these issues we're talking about should not occur to you. I think that's the best advice I can give for now. But in case there's a problem, I think it's better that you engage people like Mr. Kasakula and the other players within the team. Then at least we can try to see how best we can help. Yeah.
All right, I've seen so many hands. So what we do is that once the meeting stops, cuts, log in using the same link. We are going to continue. So Champo, you've got your hand up. Yes, you can go ahead with the question. Champo.
Hello, how are you?
Fine, and you?
Good.
Go ahead with the question.
Sure. Okay, so I just wanted to know, like, is there a way you can detect a potential virus infestation or bacterial infestation on the field before you embark on farming?
Okay.
Or maybe do they just come into play after you've planted, or there's crop specific